I never could have predicted that a simple case of the flu would change my life forever. That day I left work early feeling utterly drained, longing to get home and rest. But the moment I arrived, my entire world came crashing down. A truck belonging to someone I didn't recognize was parked in front of my house. At first, I thought little of it, but as I stepped inside, faint noises drifted from the bedroom. Sounds that made my stomach churn for reasons far beyond illness. With growing unease, I crept toward the slightly open door. What I saw inside shattered me. My wife Beth was with another man. In that instant, everything changed. This wasn't just the collapse of my marriage. It was the beginning of an entirely different chapter in my life. Before I dive deeper into my story, if you want to avoid experiencing a betrayal like mine, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Here we share real stories every day, lessons that can help you navigate life's harshest truths. Share your thoughts in the comments and please support me by liking this video. Now that you're part of the community, let's continue. That Thursday morning at work, the flu hit me hard. By noon, my boss insisted I head home to keep from spreading it around the office. All I could think about was Beth, how she'd fuss over me, maybe make some soup and help me feel better. But as I neared home, an unfamiliar truck parked outside caught my attention. Despite feeling feverish and weak, I dismissed the thought and parked down the street before making my way inside. The house was unusually quiet, an eerie stillness settling over everything. I called out for Beth, but there was no answer. As I moved toward the bedroom, muffled noises, a mix of voices and movement, began to reach my ears. My heartbeat pounded in my chest. A voice in my head urged me to turn around, warning that whatever lay ahead would alter my life forever. But I ignored it, stepping forward despite the growing dread. The closer I got, the more my suspicions solidified. Through the narrow opening of the door, I saw them, Beth tangled in the sheets with another man. The reality hit me like a blow, leaving me momentarily frozen. My mind struggled to process what I was witnessing. Every emotion imaginable surged through me. Shock, rage, sorrow, disbelief. Beth's voice echoed in the room, words I wish I could forget. My hands trembled, my stomach twisted. My instincts screamed at me to storm inside, to demand an explanation, to unleash the fury building within me. But my feet remained rooted to the ground. And then something inside me shifted. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a revelation. I wasn't losing something, I was being set free. Quietly, I nudged the door open just a little more and snapped a few photos with my phone. Beth's face, the way the man held her. It was all captured. "You'll never forget this," I muttered under my breath as I tucked the phone away. I could have confronted them, but I chose not to. Instead, I turned around and walked out without a word. As I passed through the garage, a surge of petty revenge urged me to grab a screwdriver. Without hesitation, I drove it into the tires of the man's truck. It was childish, but at that moment, it was the only act of defiance I could muster. I got in my car and drove. Tears blurred my vision, my hands gripping the wheel as I struggled to process what had just happened. My marriage, 24 years of my life, had disintegrated in a matter of seconds. For hours, I aimlessly wandered the roads, my mind consumed by questions that no longer mattered. How long had this been happening? Who was he? Did she ever love me? But none of it changed the truth. Beth had made her choice, and now I had to make mine. At some point, I pulled into a pharmacy, grabbed some flu medicine, and checked into a motel on the far side of town. I couldn't bear to return home. Not that night. Lying in that unfamiliar bed, exhaustion and heartbreak pressed down on me like a weight I couldn't shake. My phone buzzed repeatedly. Beth was calling, but I let every call go unanswered. What could she possibly say? No apology could undo what I had seen. Nothing could put the pieces back together. The next morning, I picked up the phone, but not for her. I called work and let them know I wouldn't be coming in. Had to reclaim my life. That day, I met with a lawyer, withdrew my savings, and took the first steps towards severing all ties with her. Pause for a moment if you care about your parents, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, then leave the word hate in the comments. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the start of a new chapter, one where I was in control. When I finally returned home, Beth was in the kitchen. Her eyes were swollen, her face pale. She looked up at me, desperation etched into her features. "Peter, we need to talk. Please, just give me a chance," she pleaded, her voice trembling. I met her gaze with an expression as cold as steel. "There's nothing left to forgive, Beth. It's done. I saw you. I watched you in his arms," I said, my tone devoid of emotion. Tears streamed down her face. "But I love you. He meant nothing. It was a mistake. A mistake," I repeated, barely containing my anger. "The second you let him into our home, into our bed, you destroyed whatever love you had for me. This isn't a mistake, Beth. This is the end." She sobbed uncontrollably, reaching for me, but I stepped back. "Please don't leave, we can fix this. I love you. I don't know why I did it. I was just looking for something different. But I need you," she cried. I gently removed her hands from my arm and looked at her one last time. "I don't need you, Beth. Not anymore. One day I'll find someone who will never betray me." She broke down, her sobs shaking her body, but I felt nothing. The love I once had for her had vanished, replaced by an overwhelming sense of clarity. "I'm packing my things," I stated, turning toward the bedroom. "Packing? Why?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. "Peter, please, we can talk about this." I shook my head, my tone steady. "There's nothing left to talk about. The moment you brought him into our home, you made your choice. Now I'm making mine." Beth collapsed onto the floor, wailing. "It was just sex. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I don't want him. I want you." I studied her for a moment, her words ringing hollow. "You call this love?" I asked, shaking my head. "You didn't just betray me, Beth. You destroyed us." She buried her face in her hands, her sobs echoing through the house. I watched her, feeling a mixture of pity and disgust. This woman, someone I once adored, now meant nothing to me. The realization was both painful and liberating. Love was gone, and it was time to move forward. The following weeks were dedicated to rebuilding my life. I moved into a small motel, started divorce proceedings, and left my job. For the first time in years, I had no obligations, no marriage, no career, no home tying me down. I was completely free. And so I did what I had never dared to before. I started over. Fate had an unexpected surprise in store for me. I met Maureen McDermott, a woman with fiery red hair and eyes that held both sorrow and resilience. We were introduced through mutual friends, and from the moment we spoke, there was an undeniable connection. She too had been through heartbreak, had suffered the sting of betrayal, but together we found solace. Day by day, I grew closer to her, realizing this was no accident. We were both given a second chance. Beth's betrayal wasn't my downfall. It was the push I needed to break free from a life I had been stuck in for years. Strangely, I even felt grateful to her. Without that pain, I might never have discovered what true happiness felt like. Standing atop a mountain, staring out at my new reality with Maureen by my side, I understood something profound. Sometimes life has to break us before it can rebuild us. The worst moments often lead to the most unexpected blessings. What once felt like devastation had become my greatest transformation. A new love, a new life, and a freedom I never imagined. All of it made possible by a broken heart that ultimately led me back to myself. So guys, if you all liked today's story, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you for watching.